let's go ahead and move over to Meghan's Instagram. So, because we're going to talk about a couple of things. And this, again, is sort of the issue with Harry and Meghan still having a title, because she says here on her Instagram, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. And what the kind of interesting thing here is too, is that Meghan is actually technically, guys, styling herself as a divorced woman, because it should be Meghan, comma, the capital T, Duchess of Sussex. By doing this and putting this basically on her branding and everything, if she and Harry divorce, she doesn't have to redo any of the branding stuff because she's already styled as a divorced woman. But Sarah could use her title, and I'm sure Meghan was like, "Well, Sarah was able to use her title, like, I could too." But with Sarah now being forced to also give up her title, it makes an interesting question for Meghan. Will she have to give up her title as well? And I think that's something Meghan definitely lives in fear of, because, again, she has nothing else but this. This is all she's got. And it's just kind of, I mean, to go from the balcony of Buckingham Palace to an influencer is just unbelievably pathetic. It really honestly is. It's hugely, hugely pathetic in my personal opinion. And so it's just, yeah, bad. And let's move over and watch a couple of these videos, because we've definitely seen a shift in Meghan Markle's Instagram, although it's still tracking just at 4.2, and not, it's only gained like a couple of thousand, because last time I looked, she was at 4,251,000. So she's gained 3,000 in like a couple of days. Like, this thing is moving at a glacial pace. And I'm sure she thought she'd be like, let's say, who am I looking at? Like Jennifer Aniston or something like that. Because she and Harry had the fastest growing Instagram at one point. Like, in the first 24 hours, they had the fastest growing Instagram. And then like a month or two later, they were supplanted by Jennifer Aniston. But I think Meghan in her mind was thinking, well, we're going to get to like 10 million in a couple of months. Well, she's been on Instagram since January. It's been 10 months, and she's only gained 4.2 million, or really 3.5 at the end of the day. Now, that's a lot to a lot of people, especially in that short amount of time. But think about the amount of inches that Meghan gets in newspapers and columns and on YouTube and everything, that she can only get 4.2 million followers when she should have 50. Tells you how damaged her brand is. And half of these people following, maybe not all half, but a good chunk of the followers are hate following. I do that so if I pull up Instagram, I can see the latest news. And so let's go ahead though and watch these new reels, because Meghan, oh, she's got to try, because the last time she was on Instagram, all they had was boomerang guys. So now she really needs to live it up Vlognik style, and she needs to experiment with reels. So we can watch the first one here. This was the Paris one. And so we're in Paris, guys. And so Balenciaga, ooh, we got a view of the Eiffel Tower. So that means the hotel is expensive. Oh, breakfast provided very nicely. 5-star hotel, I'm sure. And that's Duolingo, in case you were curious, because I looked it up because I was like, what is that? So another example, looking out of the balcony. Oh, do you guys all get a huge glam squad every time you go out and do something? I doubt it. And so she gets the card from Balenciaga. There's her whole team, all the stylist people and everything. Oh, we got French fries. Oh, look at all the Tom Ford lipsticks, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Tom Ford lipsticks. If you don't know, those things go for like $60 a pop, I want to say. $60 a pop, at least. And that might be being generous. They're not as bad as the Louis Vuitton ones, but. And there's like 8 over there. Look, we got to walk in the nice fancy hotel in our fancy shoes, guys, in our custom Balenciaga outfit that makes me look like I'm a grandmother in Boca Raton. And then I think it's funny because this guy does not care about her at all. And she's like, was going to go that way. And then she's told to go that way. And then, guys, we had the blue steel moment here, or the Zoolander moment. We had the Zoolander walk. Look, I'm glamorous and special. Oh, look, the designer gives me a hug. Oh, my goodness. And oh, look, we're at Balenciaga with 2 different color whites here. We have stark white and cream and black. Why? I don't know. And that's not all. So we have this New York thing. Oh, we're on an airplane again. So special. Oh, we get specially made cookies. Oh, look at all my shoes. Look at all my shoes, guys. Because you travel and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pairs of high heels. Yep. And then we have all the clothes, all the very expensive clothes, all beige, by the way, or various neutrals. For the woman who claims she was forced to wear neutrals as a royal because she didn't want to stand out. Obviously, again, another lie because the woman clearly loves neutrals and beige. Like, I don't know why she has to lie about that. It's just silly. And then, oh, look, my handsome hunk of a husband who's losing his hair and refuses to acknowledge it and who only surfs in a giant swimming pool. Look how sexy he is. Oh, and I'm putting on my lipstick. Look at all the lipstick around, all the makeup gunk everywhere. Oh, and we're on the red carpet because, we all do that. Oh, this could not be more fake, guys. Imagine that it was like, oh, let's do these things. And we can get him in the background and can look, sexy or whatever. I don't know. I'm laughing at nothing. Like, without actually knowing what they're talking about, this just looks like two crazy people on a set laughing at nothing. We know she did not eat a speck of this pizza. Oh, we are at Project Healthy Minds again, and my wrinkled pants, my horribly wrinkled pants. Ugly outfit. Oh, and me and a Chanel, me with Gloria Steinem, because I'm not close to basically somebody like Queen Elizabeth II, who I would argue is like a real feminist. We had to go with Gloria Steinem. And then our fancy restaurant. Oh, Brooklyn, or not the Brooklyn Bridge, another bridge of some sort. And so I don't get much beyond that. Obviously, there's one more. But my thing is I look at that and go, that doesn't feel to me like somebody trying to do something more than just bragging about their lifestyle. And I think it would maybe play better because we don't really like people who brag about their lifestyle as much anymore. Again, Meghan is about 10 years behind the influencer times. And I mean, it's and some people, so I will say the people it works to sort of brag about their lifestyle is somebody like Becca Bloom. If you're not familiar with Becca Bloom, maybe we'll find her here. She is wildly, wildly wealthy. Her parents are billionaires, and she goes and gets the Bulgari, custom jewelry, and her reception dress at her wedding costs like $25,000. So I'm sure her bridal dress costs 100,000. And so she has millions of dollars to throw at anything. So her showing off her lifestyle, it feels so excessive that there's a level of aspiration, sort of ridiculousness. Like it's more like lifestyles of the rich and famous. Meghan, basically what she's showing is basically average influencer. And I just don't think it comes off as super well because there's nothing deeper there. She's not showing what she's talking about. She's not showing how she's interacting with families because the whole point, and one of my biggest issues with the Parents Network is that there is zero promotion of it. We get Harry and Meghan talking about it, but none of the families who are impacted by their alleged Parents Network are actually trained to talk to the media. In fact, the one family, which we should have talked about on here, obviously, but Andrew kind of blew everything out of the water, is that they basically talk about how great Harry and Meghan are. And I'm like, that should not be the point of the charity, is to tell us how great Harry and Meghan are. The point of the charity should be to help families, not to tell us how great the founders are. And if your charity has to be used to protect the founders, well, that's a sort of a big problem. That shouldn't be how a charity is set up. And so I see nothing really of value Meghan's doing anywhere that's anything different than any other influencer. And the influencers I like add sort of you could say, twist to something. One of the ones I like watching, and maybe we'll pull her up just for fun, is Madeline White, who's in her 20s, mid-20s, or maybe late 20s now. I'm not sure. She's super adorable, kind of has a model figure, and she'll sometimes make her own clothes. And she'll try to do interesting things with styling. And she'll put her camera up, and it's very simple videos. And she'll put something together and go, "Oh, I hate that." And then she'll go sometimes, "Oh, you guys hate that, but I'm going to do it anyways. Oh, no, it is terrible. Let me take it off." And, talking about the clothes, but sometimes as well, she just is trying to make clothes. And, she's like, "I have to go out for this evening." And so to me, that feels of greater value because it's somebody trying to put an outfit together and figure it out. And yes, she has the perfect figure, so she doesn't have to worry about it like people like me do or something like that. But it's it feels like there's an organicness to it that I enjoy. Megan's just feels like, look how wealthy and famous and fabulous I am. I just don't think that works. I don't think it works. And the thing is, when you're royal, and I talked about this a little bit on the Crown Report if you haven't ever watched that. So it's where I go over sort of all the other royal news in another live program just to kind of educate and everything. One of the things about royals, because I talked this week about how sometimes royals, yeah, they can seem a bit boring. And I say that not as if it's a negative thing, but they shouldn't be flashy. They shouldn't be ostentatious to the point where they are, let's say, other, because the whole point of royals is that they should be able to connect with you. Because when royals are outside the palace doing engagements, they can't be like, "Oh, I can't touch you. You're a pleb or whatever," which I feel like is what Megan's like. "Oh, I can't touch you. You're an assistant." Ugh. They have to be able to interact with anyone from babies to the elderly to everyone in between, people with mental health issues and people who are in difficult circumstances or whatever. They have to meet with a variety of people. And so the thing is, they're not trying to show their excess just to show their excess. But sometimes, yeah, they wear tiaras and these sorts of things, but they also need to be able to wear tiaras and then go down and hang out with an elderly person for an hour and talk to them about their experiences, during World War II. That's the chasm of royalty, and that's what makes it so difficult, I think, sometimes for people to navigate it, although most of them do just fine, is that you have this level of excess, but also you need to be relatable. And I don't feel like anything Megan's doing here is particularly relatable. And even influencers, I feel like try to either be relatable in some way, and maybe it's sort of a ridiculous way, but it helps, or they're trying to teach you something. And so, like Madeline, I like because basically every day it's like, what do I wear today? And I kind of like that. I like fashion. I like that. I actually have a little idea if I ever did more of an influencery thing, it'd be like how I search for buried treasure in fashion because that is one of my passions is finding buried treasure in fashion, which means going to like TJ Maxx, Marshalls and finding fantastic deals, which I do. I call it treasure hunting. It's so fun. Anyways, so that's to me because to me that's something where I hope I can teach others how to do something and how to, let's say, enjoy something and find great deals or whatever. I feel like Megan's just like, "Ooh, look how wealthy I am. Look, I'm a princess and I get to fly around and do these sorts of things and I get to go to Paris and do my blue seal walk." I like somebody like Madeline. I keep talking about Madeline because I do like her stuff and I do see her videos at least once a day. I always think it's like she would be the first one to tell you how like she would if she did something like that like Megan did, she would be the first one to poke fun at it and say how stupid it looks and how stupid she's being. How like she like I'm just, doing it for funsies or whatever. Megan seriously walked like Zoolander and somehow thinks that's a win. She didn't see the humor in it, the ridiculousness of her, mm, and her pouty lip and everything. Anyways, guys, I just gotta say that. And then let's watch because this is the other issue, obviously, with the royal titles for Harry and Meghan. So if you haven't seen it, I did actually do a whole video on this, but this bag here, guys, you can get it from Longchamp. It's personalized and it's basically DS. Now, if it could be her assistant's bag, but there's actually like sort of two issues here. Number one, it's most likely Megan's bag that she's forcing her assistant to carry. That's not a good look. And yes, I imagine a lot of royals have assistants who pull their stuff. I like 100%. I 100% understand that. But I feel like it's kind of creepy for you to be publicizing that your assistant is dragging your stuff around. I don't feel like that looks without like having something self-deprecating to it. It feels like, "Oh, watch my pawn or whatever drag around my stuff." Like or watching my pack mule or something. Like that's what it feels like to me. I don't really particularly find it very attractive. And I imagine DS does stand for Duchess of Sussex. And the reason is that she has a Christian Dior bag that she didn't put Megan on because you can personalize the book totes or the Lady Dior bag. And so, for example, Queen Maxima of the Netherlands has a Lady Dior bag that says Maxima. Doesn't say Queen Maxima, it just says Maxima. And It's big enough because it's a book tote bag where it could have Queen Maxima on it, I think, but, she's queen. She doesn't need to put Queen Maxima on her own stuff. She wants to just put her name, which is Maxima. Meghan, meanwhile, has to have on her it's a Lady Dior bag, so it's smaller. It says DSSOS. Duchess, DUCHSESS of Sussex. DSSOS. I mean, how stupid is that? It could just say Meghan. It could just say Sussex. Why does it have to say Duchess of Sussex? And again, I've said this before as well. They have lapel pins with their royal monogram on it. They have a doormat with their royal monogram on it. So they have this level of obsession with their titles that's just sort of a little bit ridiculous. And I feel like really, really just kind of disgusting, I think, because it's like you were only in there for 18 months and somehow you need to slap Duchess of Sussex on everything. Even her friend, she sends them notes that says, with compliments from Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. Like, and her kids have stationery that says, and I'm sure they did before they even technically announced that the kids were going to take the titles. Her Royal Highness Princess Lilibet, His Royal Highness Prince Archie. I'm sure they send like invitations to their neighborhood friends saying from His Royal Highness Prince Archie of Sussex. Like stupid things like that. I just feel like really are off-putting to people because all it does is remind us, and it's supposed to remind us that Harry and Meghan, they're other. They're other. They're not like us. They're other. And I find that to be exceptionally tacky, like really, really tacky. So we have the bag here, Meghan in her outfit, like giving a nod to the camera. Like all of this is so influencery. It's just so bad. And like again, 10 years ago influencer. And we can't actually hear anything that's happening, which I find a little bit annoying because the whole point is, hey, what did you do? Not 9 to 5. What's playing, guys, here is 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. She literally lives in a $16 million mansion with, I'm sure, a huge amount of staff and does not work a 9 to 5. She does not work a 9 to 5 like you work a 9 to 5, or maybe even a 9 to 9. She does not work a 12-hour shift as a nurse on her feet all the time. She has people who literally do pretty much probably everything for her and somehow thinks she's working a 9 to 5. And then her poor hapless assistant, and then Meghan. I don't know why she did this, like sticking her tongue out. I don't understand why we needed the tongue. It's like really juvenile. And again, she's carrying her purse, I'm sure, and the assistant is carrying all the other crap. Oh, but her assistant does get a glass of champagne every once in a while. And then Meghan needs to get into the cockpit of their Delta flight. And I'm like, I'm just so curious. Maybe the pilots wanted it. I don't know. But I always feel like Meghan's one of those people who thinks that like everybody wants to meet her. Everybody wants to meet the Duchess of Sussex. Not really. We don't care that much. But maybe they do. If they wanted to, that made their pilot's day, whatever. But I feel like other celebrities are kind of just like, they just want to get on their plane and they want to get home. And I feel like Meghan always wants to make a big parade about it. And I just find that a bit obnoxious and a bit sort of, again, very ego driven. And so then you see the Pentagon, which is probably not the best thing to do. I don't know why you would want to show off the Pentagon, which was attacked during 9/11. That's probably not the best idea. So anyways, that was that video. And yeah, it's just one of those things where it feels very influencery. And then Meghan kind of follows it up here. And this is sort of Meghan's overexposedness. She went to this event that Emma Grede does called A Seat at the Table Los Angeles. So they do this. So it's in a city built on dreams and even bigger ambition. One truth remains: successful will never be built alone. For too long, we've watched how men in business have mastered this because it's all about women empowerment, making deals over dinners, sharing opportunities over a game, and opening doors for one another in rooms we can't always see. Well, people have been doing that for everyone. It's not just like a man thing. That there's this weird thing that people sometimes think, or women or feminists or whatever, think that somehow men did this, like women have never done this thing. I still don't get. I still don't get it because I'm sure they were doing this. But women have honestly usually have other interests like family, those sorts of things. I don't think that's necessarily like a bad thing. So this dinner series is about making that energy ours, about women coming together, share openly, trade resources, and help each other get SHIT done. Because when women choose to collaborate, to champion each other, and to speak honestly about the highs and the hard parts, we don't just change our own stories, we change what's possible for every woman who follows. Here's some more seats, more voices, and more women leading, building, and owning their power. So I find this to be all, and most of Megan's sphere to be completely hypocritical because they want to ask certain women to these type of events. Like Emma Grede would never host Megyn Kelly. She never would because she doesn't probably agree with her politically. Maybe that's a step too far, but I don't think she would because they don't really care about all women. They only care about certain women. And certain women, they feel like all these women were immensely wealthy, I'm sure, who were at this party. Like nobody was, the Kelly Westler or whatever who owns this house, has a lot of money. Everybody at this event has a crap ton of money. Rachel Zoe, how is she not connected to things? So, of course, but we did get, I'm surprised we don't have Meghan here chiming in because she does respond sometimes on social media. So, somebody else, and then they're tipping glasses over the table. And apparently the wine was by As Ever, although we do have reds there. So unless Meghan has a red right now, that's not entirely true. It was just the Sauvignon Blanc, which I think they say later. And there's Emma and Meghan. I didn't realize how short Emma was because Meghan, I feel like, is pretty short too. So Emma must be fairly short. And so they're all hanging all over each other. Like all of this is so incredibly fake. I mean, at least Emma Grede is a fantastic businesswoman, so she's earned what she's created for sure. But I'll just find this stuff to be so annoyingly fake and conceited and contrived and so many things. And I don't think it plays particularly well for Meghan overall. I think at this point, she's sort of wildly overexposed. And I think that's going to damage her prospects in the future because Meghan doesn't, I feel like, plan things out so it has a natural flow. It's like she disappears and then vomits everything at once. Like this year has been the year of content vomit from Meghan, especially in August. Like everything dropped the week of the second season of her show. And then she got totally upstaged by Taylor Swift, which was hysterical. And now this week she's getting totally upstaged by Prince Andrew. So, I mean, things don't always go well for the content vomit situation. But yeah, it's very, very interesting to see all of the just I don't know, the conceitedness and everything. And I feel like oh no, the song Emma was playing over it mentioned Balenciaga. It was from Mariah Carey. And I can't remember. She might have been wearing Balenciaga. I can't remember. Oh, the look was by Bottega Veneta and YSL. So, in case you were curious, not obviously a Balenciaga, which has its own issues. So, Meghan, I think her mediocrity is going to come back to bite her at some point. And I'm curious if any of the women really liked her wine. And it was a way too to get her wine in hands of people who haven't had it yet. And hopefully they may buy it or encourage more people to buy it or whatever. But I've tried her wine. It was fairly mediocre. Like if you can get the stuff directly from France, this stuff is good. Because we did a wine tasting on our last trip and it was really, really good. I mean, it wasn't like great, like amazing because I'm not really into wine, but it was like I could appreciate it for what it was and it was good. But yeah, so it's just, I don't think going to go the way Meghan wants to, but she desperately wants to be a part of those circles and yet is dismissing the royal aspect. I'm just like, that's the more interesting aspect. Like, why aren't we doing that? But Meghan wants to go and do things her way and she is allowed to do them. But now with Andrew having given up his titles, Meghan's future using that title to get into rooms like that with Emma Grede, because Emma Grede would not give Rachel Zane from Suits the time of day. The actress who played Rachel Zane on Suits would not be moving in those circles by any stretch of the imagination without that royal title. Without that title, she has nothing. She knows it, and I'm sure she's starting to freak out a little bit today after this decision was made. I'm curious if we'll get some sort of comment or reaction from the Sussexes, like not officially, but through like certain channels or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting development for sure.